Hey everybody, it's Michael from Nagios, and today we'll be going over how you can configure checks and alerts in Nagios Network Analyzer. Alerts are a powerful tool when it comes to network monitoring. They allow you to know when something changes, when flow stops, or when data crosses a threshold, so you can respond to issues before they become outages. And with Nagios Network Analyzer, there's several ways to get alerts. You can have an SNMP receiver, you can execute commands, send out email notifications, or integrate Nagios XI. And in this video, we'll go over how you can create alerts, configure checks, and get those notifications. So let's get started by diving in to the Nagios Network Analyzer homepage. Now, alerting in Nagios Network Analyzer is mostly managed within the Alerting tab on the left-hand side of the screen. This is the page where you can create and manage alert checks, define alerting methods, and monitor your alert status and activity. Now, there are a couple different ways in which you can send out alerts in Nagios Network Analyzer, and they can be configured by selecting Alerting Configs on the top right-hand side of the screen. Now, the first way is through a Nagios setup, which is done by integrating a Nagios XI server. You can do that by giving it a name, and then inputting your NRDP URL and NRDP token, which can be found within your Nagios XI server. And after that, you can define a service name and host name, which will serve as your checks from Nagios Network Analyzer. The next method is an SNMP receiver, which you can do by defining a name, the IP address, the port, and then depending on the version, the necessary information. And then finally, you can execute a command. You can do so by defining a command name, a script location, the script name, and then if necessary, any arguments you're choosing to pass as well. And then finally, you can decide to configure email notifications that will serve as an email alert to a Nagios Network Analyzer user. And you can define those by going to Administration and then Notification Settings. Now, if we go back to alerting, we can see how to define a check, which is what will be alerted on. The first option is flow sources. You can create one by selecting New Flow Source Check. And then after inputting a name, you can decide to check either the flow source or a flow source group. And after selecting a source, you can hit Next. You'll then be prompted by selecting a data metric, which the check will be ran on, defining the warning and critical thresholds, as well as defining the query. You then can decide if the check should be ran upon creation, as well as to add any additional queries. And after hitting Next, you'll be able to decide how the alert is sent out. Under User, this will use the email method and go to the email address of the Nagios Network Analyzer user. Nagios will show any Nagios XI instances you have. SNMP receivers will show any SNMP receivers you have defined. And then commands will show any commands. And after hitting Create, you should see a pending check with the ability to run it right away or manually, view and edit it, deactivate it, or delete it. Now the next check option is for an Nmap scan. And by selecting the new Nmap check button and giving it a name, you can decide which scheduled scan you have defined to run this check on. And after hitting Next, you can run the check for either ports opened or ports closed. And after defining the thresholds and deciding if it should run upon creation, you can hit Next, and then be met with the same alerting methods as the other checks. And then you'll have the same methods and options to run it, view and edit, deactivate, and delete it. And our next check will be for Suricata. Now, before creating a Suricata check, it might be helpful to go to your Suricata page and then the Alerts tab to copy down the SID for the Suricata alert that you want to be alerted on through Nagios Network Analyzer. So I'll copy this one through the clipboard and then go back to my alerting page and start creating my Suricata check. I'll start by giving it a name and then pasting the signature ID that I just copied, where I can then set the threshold for its alert count. I'll then be able to change the check frequency, as well as the lookback period for this check. Now, for a flow source check, Nmap check, and system check, it'll only be a default of every 5 minutes. Now, after creating this one, you have the same alerting methods, as well as the same options to edit. And finally, the last check is for system metrics. These are the metrics that can be found in the top right-hand side of the screen: CPU, memory, and disk. And when creating a check, you can give it a name, and then see the metrics under CPU, memory, as well as root drive. And when selecting one, you can define the thresholds, force it upon creation, as well as define the alerting method. And after it's created, it'll have the same options as the other checks, and you'll be able to see all the ones you've made on the tabs here. And that's it. You've now seen how you can configure checks and alerts in Nagios Network Analyzer. If you still need any more help with alerts, or any of our products in general, please visit support.nagios.com, or check out our YouTube channel for any more helpful content. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on monitoring.